This triangle is the number one reason why you are not growing your current agency and your business. And this is how you actually win in the business space. And the number one thing people don't talk about is this one thing, which is leads. And in today's video, I'm going to discuss how leads are the most powerful thing, like the best powerful thing in your business is and always will be the leads. So I will discuss how to actually capture leads, how to actually get leads, and actually how to just make your business grow in this case. So let's start off with a quick intro. So if you haven't seen me before, my name is Maximilian, and it's the process we have used to save on average $8,650 and 200 plus hours per client for digital marketing specifically. I have worked with other industries, but in this case, I'm currently just only working with agencies in the marketing space, but I have worked and still work with a bunch of other spaces and industries. In the past 2 years, our automation agency, well designed, focused on search systems, automation, scalable systems all over the world. Here's our exact process that we have used to help scale across 40 plus companies. And since the beginning of 2024. Now, this triangle will show you exactly how to just get more customers. And just number one thing I think is the most important to focus about when you're starting your own business and if you have the service delivery down. So if you have a service, let's say you're doing SEO, maybe you're doing web development, maybe you're doing Google Ads, maybe you're selling something else. This is kind of, if you have delivery down, then this will be the next step. So if you're proficient in, let's say, you know how to create websites, then this is the next step. So think about all of your clients that you have currently. Number one thing, most important thing is identified lead sources. Think where your leads are currently coming from. Is it from cold email? Is it from LinkedIn? Is it from paid ads? Is it from referrals? In my opinion, you should track every single lead, where they come from and how much they're worth. So in this case, let's say you have, not sure, like 3 different marketing methods. Let's say you have paid ads. Let's say you have cold email. Let's say you do referrals. And let's say you have something like LinkedIn. Those are your core drivers through clients and leads, right? So if those are your core 4, find your core 4. That's step number 1. So see where your clients are coming from. Find those channels, maybe Upwork, maybe paid ads. Find them, list them, okay? I want you to list every single thing where you're getting clients from. Even though it's just one client, maybe worth $500, still count it in, okay? So link where exact all of your clients are coming from and get a clear pipeline of all the lead sources. That's step number 1 to kind of continue and kind of to grow later on the line. See where your clients are coming from, summarize it. In this case, summarize the clients. So let's say you get, in this case, you have, let's say just write numbers. We have, you have gotten 8 clients from paid ads, 3 from cold email, 2 from referrals, and 1 for LinkedIn, right? This is not enough. The amount of clients you get per actual each thing, this is not enough. You have to think about one step further. How much you're paying per each client. So let's say on email, cold email, or paid ads, you spend, let's say you spend like, I can just make it kind of bigger. Let's say you have spent 1,200. Cold email you have spent, let's say, 250. Referrals you have spent literally 0. LinkedIn you have also spent, let's say, $0 or just $97 for the premium membership, or yeah, let's say $97 in this case. So you start to count the customer acquisition cost, so also called, of course, as CAC, right? CAC. How much you're paying to get each client. In this case, if you pull out, of course, a calculator, this will be 1,200 divided by 8, 1,250. This will be just 0, right? Because it's free. And this will be, of course, in this case, $97, right? So this will be 0. And if you're, let's say you have gotten almost half of your clients, like let's say you do the math. To get as many clients as you get through cold email and as paid ads, then so do the actual cost. In this case, you do to get the same amount of clients for cold email as paid ads, you're only paying 500, right? Roughly, rough amount is 500. So in this case, you're paying almost 2x for the same amount of clients you do for cold email. Should you focus on cold email? Possibly. Do we know yet? Not sure. We have to check more steps down the line. So get all the clients, or kind of all the different platforms where you're getting clients from: paid ads, or cold email, referrals, LinkedIn. See how many clients you get from each single stage and kind of see where the key metrics are. Get those numbers in, get your customer acquisition cost in, and kind of see what numbers you're pulling in. That's the first step of a business, in my opinion. Second step, we have to set key points, right? Example, 100 outreach per LinkedIn per day. Let's say you only get one client per LinkedIn. Maybe that's not worth it. Maybe instead of saying, in this case, 100, let's say you do something like 2,000 emails per day, right? And that's your KPI. Or let's say you do ask all clients for referrals. And let's say you have something like for LinkedIn, you have send 100 outreach on each day, right? And maybe have like let's say you have $50 ad spend per day or something, or let's say 100, right? Define those key metrics, see how much time it also takes to do this, because if this takes you 4 hours, this takes you 1 hour, and this takes you 30 minutes, and if the last thing takes you 1 hour. So define how long each single lead source takes, and see how much potential each lead source have. So hopefully that makes sense. You go through paid ads, you see what lead sources you have, if it's referral, if it's cold email, and then you kind of define how much each client is worth, how much you pay for each client, and then how much you can actually do per volume, because some businesses maybe can't afford 1,000 per day on ad spend, right? And that's completely understandable. So think about the key metrics. If you're starting out, I will of course just recommend free, because that's the thing. You can't maybe pay those sums that you do in ads. So start off with this, find out, and then kind of track where all the leads came from. So keep tracking to see where the leads came from. In this case, you probably will know if it comes from leads, or if it comes from referrals, or if it comes from ask where the client is coming from. If you're doing like cold email, if you're doing like email, if you're LinkedIn, you will see that they are coming from LinkedIn, right? So ask, but also make sure to ask, because some of them maybe just saw one of your posts on like saw have one of your ads on LinkedIn, and then saw another post which isn't an ad, but still want to message you just because that post did it for them. So maybe it could be a mix between both. Something to also keep in mind, right? So track where all the leads came from. Number one, track everything, right? Super important. You track. Then you store all leads in systems. So you use, in this case, a CRM system. I will show this later online, my favorite choice of system. You have to track every single interested client. Like once a client is interested, they are interested, right? So unless they say no, don't stop responding to them, or if they have like blocked you. But you also have to you also have to follow up in a strategic manner. So something I will also touch later down the line. So never stop following up until they say no, or if they've had enough and you can't provide more value. So in this case, I will touch on those tips later down the line. But yeah, let's summarize, find out where your current lead sources have been or are. Set your points on how much you're going to do per day. You're going to track every single output and input, how many hours you do, how much you're getting out, how much you're paying. and then you store every single of those leads in a list or a CRM system. The second layer, you use Typeform, Tally, Calendly to collect lead info. This is of course completely optional, but use also sort of like, if like, always pre-qualify clients before calls. You have to make sure how much they're worth, how much you're just doing, how much headcount they have. Research the company, because if you're maybe gonna jump on a call of someone who started a day ago and they haven't never had a business before and you're completely new, they probably can't afford the service, or maybe that's your perfect dream client, who knows, right? So you always need to collect all forms. In my opinion, Typeform works. If you want a free version, just go on fill out forms. So search on fill out. Use Calendly or Cal. I myself use cal.com because I think it's a better platform. I think it's easier and it's also basically free. So use fill out, Typeform, or something to collect info from. You sync that information from those forms to a automation system. In this case, you're either going to sync your ClickUp, which is my CRM system of choice, using Zapier or Make. I prefer Make. If you already have, let's say you're an enterprise client on Zapier, then use Zapier, because why not, right? But if you're starting out, use Make because it's free. So do fill out forms. Like if you want the free best route, we're going to do it like this. Number one will be fill out forms. You sign up for ClickUp, and you sign up for make.com. All of those three are free. For fill out you have 1,000. ClickUp is quite limited, but you still can do a lot, so free. That's just customization, and here also you have 1,000 operations, which will take you a long way in terms of Typeform integrations, right? So you of course have to score each lead. So you collect information from Typeform or fill out forms or ClickUp forms. You have to set lead score based on budget, company size, and urgency. Like how much are they willing to pay? How much money do they actually have to pay? How big is the company? Because usually, of course, if they are a bigger headcount, let's say they have 200 employees, that will have more money than a team having one employee. Like quite easy to understand, right? And then you have to mark them and qualify and unqualify them. If they can afford to pay, qualified. If they're like a brand new team, they haven't done anything, they haven't even gotten their first client, probably unqualified, or maybe they already have an extremely good website, or they are smashing in, let's say, Google Ads. They're getting a bunch of leads. They're just struggling with fulfillment, right? But then they're also probably unqualified, right? That would be the base layer of your actual leads. So lead is if you haven't explained what leads are, a lead is, in basically our Hormozy terms, is just an potential customer which you have information to. Let's just write me with text instead, right? Potential client which you have contact information for, right? Because if you don't have anything to contact with them, then of course they're useless. You have to have some sort of information to contact. Even though you just Google them, let's say you have found someone that's online and they're interested, maybe they maybe don't even have a website, right? Then you can still mark them as a lead because you can just search up their information. Those are the steps. So first off, identify. That's number one. Number two, right? Then we have number three, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, once a client is interested, so we do have everything set up. I'm going to show you how to do it later on the line. Into this video, you're going to add scheduled follow-ups. So let's say every 3 days, every 4 days, every 2 days, kind of depending on what method you're doing. Let's say if you're doing cold email, I will do like 2-3 days, then maybe 5 days, and like you have to, of course, schedule it out. So in this case, you can either do auto follow-ups or manual follow-ups, kind of depending on where you are at that stage. If you don't have any like leads coming in, if you're company is completely blank and there's nothing going on, then just do manual. If you have a bunch of leads, you have maybe hundreds or tens of leads each day, do automated follow-ups. So through Go High Level, through Make, through GPT, through Zapier, through N8N. Find just a solution that works, and yeah, just do anything that works. Of course, this will also be very industry specific on how you do the follow-ups and so on. This kind of will be the core 3, right? Or core 4. When you're following up, always follow up with value. Case studies, testimonial, free content, blogs, posts, anything that's kind of free and they can easily digest, that is of value, just go for it, right? So find something that's always useful. Don't just share and say, hey, following up because nothing, right? Because you haven't, in case my note got buried or something, right? Always follow up with value. Highly recommended, because then you're also nurturing the client with case studies, with proof, with testimonial along the way. So you don't have to close them as hard or disclose. You maybe don't even have to close them at all during the call, because you have, if you follow up properly, you minimize the amount of objection handling you do at the call. So think about that. The less and more you do case studies and useful content to your prospect, the less you have of trying to save a sales call. You track everything: engagement, clicks, replies, calls booked. I think that's self-explained. Extremely important to track every single metric, because you have to know what works the best and what's more efficient, so you can double down on what's important. And here, of course, the 8-20 rule applies. The thing that is most important, you focus on, and I think that's quite easy to understand, right? So focus on the most important thing and just double down on it, right? So find the thing that drives you most revenue and most outcomes, and then just do the thing. Your follow-ups, let's say 3 times over 2 weeks. If let's say you follow up, what can I say? Let's say you follow up with a client 40 times. Don't bother maybe, because they probably won't be interested. You get the point. There is a limit on how much you can actually do. But you can follow up in multiple different ways. You can call them, you can email them, you can send just a LinkedIn message. There's a bunch of ways you can actually follow up. So I would highly recommend switching up the methods. Sometimes maybe call them, sometimes maybe email them. There are multiple methods to get that explained. So following up with value, case studies, testimonials, free content. Then do timelines and do auto follow-ups or manual. Last, of course, convert the lead into client, book the call, close the deal, and start delivering. So to give you some action steps on actually what to do, you identify your stuff, see what's most efficient in your case. You double down at what the thing drives you most value. You do, and just exhaust that thing. You get as much money as you possibly can through that engine, and then you keep doing the same thing and over, and just repeat, scale, and just do the thing that drives you most value. If now, let's say, cold email are performing like 10 times better than the paid ads, then of course just go for cold email, right? That probably makes sense. So in this case, to set up this system and all the stuff we discussed about in this video, we go into sign up for ClickUp. You find a system. I can either follow up this template, just follow up what I've done, or just create your own if you have one already, right? So once, like, something to mention, a lead should never be new. Like, let's say I have a lead now called Maxi, right? That's myself. That should never be in a new stage. That should always be in the contact stage. If there is a client that is a potential lead, you follow up them as soon as you can, right? Don't leave them. Let's say someone has just written a call you saying, hey, I'm interested in your service. You respond immediately. You don't wait. The longer you wait, the more money you waste. Super important. And I've made that mistakes countless of times, just waiting 1-2 days, lost a client. Literally, all right? There's so many people who kind of offer the same thing as you do. So it's super important to follow up as soon as possible. So you go into ClickUp, you set up stages. In this case, I have contacted, I have booked, I have lost, I have closed, right? Make it easy for yourself to see kind of what's most important for you. Find the stages, you just press on settings, edit status, and of course just add statuses. In this case, I can direct follow-up like this. Follow-up, and that's it. And we can also do something quite interesting. So due dates, let's say this. I want to add an important field called last touchpoint date. When was your last time you actually touched with them? So in this case, let's say today, right? You press on automate, you add an automation, add automation into ClickUp, just follow the steps. Once due date, let's say, arrives, you, let's say, change status to follow-up. So if the due date has arrived in here, it's paused maybe, has arrived is today, or let's say it's yesterday, it's going to automatically move to follow-up, so you know when to follow up with a client. Hopefully that makes sense. So get the system in, you can see, in follow-up just because the due date was yesterday. Put the source TikTok ads, cold outreach, referral, inbound, LinkedIn, websites, Meta ads, TikTok ads, Google ads. Do whatever fits your needs and kind of where you get your clients from. You put on client name, client budget, do a rough estimate. If you don't like some of the clients, you won't have a budget until later on the line, but you should always, when you have an intake form like this, like lead intake form, company name, contact name, budget, contact email, phone number. The thing I do for myself is this, right? I do something that is called, let's say, I think it's called news. I have that. I have a 12-step free training in my newsletter. In this case, I will get all 12 ClickUp CRM trainings for free. This took me super long. It's a document that is extremely comprehensive. We have hundreds plus slides. I mean, we have extremely good guide. You enter first name, a website, and monthly revenue, right? And then I kind of know the budget based on the monthly revenue. Then I connect this with my CRM to get that automatically inside of the system. But you can also do something like this. If you don't have something like this, just do a form inside of here. Just press on view, create form. In this case, you have something called form up here. You can just do project intake and just kind of fill out information, make your own cover, brand it yourself, of course, and so on. I have some other templates that I've done in here that are branded to my own company, right? To well design, like this, right? But yeah, so create a system like this into ClickUp. I have counts of guides. I'm on 12-step free training sequence. Create a system, track every single leads, all the core KPIs in the Google Sheets or inside of here. Track how many outreach you have done. Let's say call email. You have done 2,000 emails. You have booked 4 calls, right? So put in all the information that you have done and tracked. You put in budget, you put in basically everything, core KPIs. You can just write maybe a new field here, let's say core KPIs, or let's say like LinkedIn KPIs. And then you can just, or do another board, of course, and just write all your relevant information. If you want to make it simpler, just press on the doc. Core, let's say just write in LinkedIn outreach. I usually just use Google Sheets for this. And then you can just do something like LinkedIn outreach, total sent, X, total booked meetings, X, and then closed clients. Let's say we do something like this: 120, booked meetings 4 or 3, closed clients 2. And then we can just do something like last updated, right? Just try it simply. If you have a bigger system, I would highly recommend just doing something bigger. So just create a list. In this case, you call it something like core KPIs. And then you write, of course, all relevant information. In this case, I'm just going to write numbers. So you add fields called number. You add total amount of outreach. Let's do it the long way, right? Total amount of outreach we have date, total amount of opportunities. This would be the cold email example. So interested clients, and then from closed or booked meetings, booked meetings, and then we have, of course, text. We have closed clients. So in this case, let's say you have sent out cold email on instantly. Let's say you have done 4,000 emails. You have gotten 21 opportunities roughly, which is quite good. So core metrics. Let's say you've gotten 5 booked. We have gotten closed clients 1, or let's say 2 in this case. You write the nice formula in here called booked email per client. So in this case, we're going to take the total amount of outreach added with are these text fields, or are these, yeah, okay, I did a mistake here. This should be number fields, of course. In this case, do numbers, closed clients. That's my bad. Let's say 2 closed clients, right? You divide them. You have to send 2,000 emails to actually get the amount. Same with, let's say, ad spend, or let's say meta ads, right? You do instead of total outreach, we do spending, so 1,200. If you spend 1,200, you get 13. Oh, that's quite low. But yeah, let's say you have 13 opportunities per $1,000 on ads. You get 5 booked meetings, and you close 2 clients. You have to spend $600 to get each client. You have to send 2,000 email to get each client. Track every single output in your system. Track your business. And the most common problem I see is not that they don't have enough of leads, or not of, like, the problem is you have to just get every lead interested and just keep every single lead that is interested. If someone shows interest in your service, just don't leave them alone. That's kind of the moral of the story. Just keep making outreach, keep having them online, and just don't leave them alone. And just, of course, provide value, don't be annoying and so on. Hopefully that makes sense. And the core problem is not you not getting enough clients. The core problem is just not you managing to close enough leads. And that's kind of the goal, because you do get a bunch of interesting clients and people. You're just not able to, of course, kind of close them and make them interested. So that's the main thing. So create a system like this. I do have, of course, a 12-step free sequence you can download and just follow it. You can, of course, create dashboards and just see even better stuff if you want, right? This is only a small thing about all the stuff, right? So yeah, create a system, track everything, sync it to calendars, create a cal.com calendar. So just search for cal.com, right? Extremely simple. You sign it up, create it. Pricing is basically free. You can do free. You have 1 user, you have unlimited calendars, unlimited event types, and yeah. Accept payments via Stripe. Extremely simple. Sign up, create the systems you need, either a form like this that we have in here, or through something like fill out forms or type form in this case. So yeah, track and track once more, and that's about it. So yeah, that's how you actually manage to succeed in business. You get all your leads and potential clients, and you don't leave them alone. That's kind of the goal. So if you're struggling with outreach, if you're struggling with getting clients, I highly recommend just tracking every single output that you do, because that makes a huge difference. So track it, and good luck.